Privilege of the floor, number one. We're at privilege of the floor, number one. Would anyone like to address the board?
Yes, please.
Okay.
So we had an issue that happened at the school, which you just spoke to with us at the outside. And I'm not here as a school board member. I'm here as a private citizen and a parent of children that are at the school during that time. And we are concerned about the security of the school, the security of our children, and basically the communication between us as parents and concerned citizens and the select board. We've had issues with our after school program, as you well know, that we're not communicating on well with. As a constituent space, as young people in this community who know that a lot of older people are coming to us and asking us, what can we do to increase our population here? And have things like what happened yesterday happen in our community, and then have things happening with the after school program and not having us being part of these conversations is of concern to our constituent base. We're not feeling that we're being listened to. We're not feeling that we're being respected. We're not feeling like anyone cares. So that's what I want to put on the table.
Well, as far as I can't speak to the after-school program, and because I think that has been a town responsibility in coordination with the school, and I think in the past, at least from what I can recall, I think there was a misunderstanding, but I don't think it, to my way of thinking, it's going to be helpful to go back and try to unravel that. The idea was to do something about the after-school program. And I think the school board presented a budget, which is completely separate, of course, from our purview. And we had also presented a budget that included monies for the after-school program. So in order to, at the recent select board meeting, we discussed the possibility of trying to rationalize that. It made no sense for both the school board and the select board to present separate proposals to the town voters on the after-school program, since we both had a role to play. So we discussed it among ourselves, and I went to talk to Gail about it, and I think we came to an agreement that is going to work quite well, and she was going to present it to the school board. So I don't know where everything stands at the moment. We mentioned it to our department chief, Brooke, about what the verbal agreement was, if I can put it that way, and which I guess I was waiting to hear back from Brooke and Gail through Brooke as to where we were going to go with the after-school program. So again, I don't know how it got misconstrued in the past as a board to try to do the right thing in the end. So I can address that part of it.
What's your feeling of the right thing? What is the board's feeling of what the right thing would be?
With regard to the after-school program?
After-school program.
Yeah, I think the enrichment program is a great idea. And I think that the school should continue that part of the program from roughly, 2:45 to 4 o'clock. And then that the rec department can take, the town, that is, can take the 4 to 5 hour to do what it has done in the past, and that is to provide, children in the community with a place, safe place to play and to do activities until their parents can come pick them up.
How are we going to be assured that it's safe?
I have no reason to think it wouldn't be safe.
Yesterday, we had an incident in the school where we made parents feel unsafe.
Mm-hmm. I was not there. I've heard about it, but I have no comment on whether or not it was what the perceptions of people were. If people want to think it's unsafe, that's certainly their view. But I don't see any safety issue with the school, the after school.
Tim, can I ask a question?
Absolutely, please do.
So at the selectmen's meeting back in September, in August, September and October, the issues with our after-school program were, one, funding and the financial side of it, which Margaret presented at the school budget hearing, that there wasn't a financial issue. But repeatedly, Brooke said that the issue was the number of children, and that, 3 to 4 isn't a good environment. And when there is less than 3, there are calls that get made of, are you going to come today? Because these ones aren't. So are you going to? How are you going to change that? Has that opinion changed now for the 4 to 5 hour?
No, go ahead.
Let me just step back and get to a point back to September and October. I think we as a board in the recreation department, and maybe to a degree the school, but I know on our side, we dropped the ball on communicating to the parents. Where at the meetings in September, as a board, we said we would continue the program through January.
Yeah.
We should have been more in touch as 3 separate working groups to figure a plan for January going forward, as opposed to being here now.
Mike,
You know.
I think there's a lot that I just found out about last week, in which Brooke and Mark, and I think it was Katie and Morgan met. And at that meeting, there was a commitment to continue the program through the rest of the school year.
That's what I meant. We had already talked about
We-
going through January through.
No, through the rest of the.
No, from January through the rest of the school year.
Yes, yeah.
We had made that commitment, but that was in September, I believe, in October.
Yeah.
We had made that commitment. We said we weren't going to let you down. We weren't going to let this drop. But we never had a follow-up to see what we were going to do after the end of
After the
this
end
year,
of the
the
school
school year.
Yeah.
So you're right about the lack of communication.
Mhm. Okay.
But no one wants to see this program fail or the school fail.
That's what I hear, but the actions speak differently.
Yeah.
And when we're speaking as parents, and we're concerned about bringing kids into our school, and we're trying to talk to other parents to bring parents into our community, and we say, and they ask what's happening with the after school program, we don't have security there. I mean, it's been 5 years, and this isn't the first time this has come up as a issue. And when I look at it and say, does it even make sense to be dealing with 2 separate boards, 2 separate community, 2 separate authorities on something that handles with children? Shouldn't we just be handling that with one board, one school, one community
Well, it's
effort?
been intertwined for so long.
Does that make it right?
Well,
No, it doesn't,
different towns
but
do it different. Some towns do it rec departments, some towns do it school. So there's no one way. We've chosen to do it through the rec department primarily.
Speaking as a parent,
Mhm.
you've lost my faith,
Mhm.
right?
And what issue?
So
I'm
if you
sorry.
bring back a school program, I'll tell you right now, I'm not putting my kids in it. As a parent, I won't put my two children there because I don't have security that it's going to run. I'm going to take my own steps to make sure that I have security, that I have coverage for my children, make sure I can do my job, make sure that my wife can do her job, and we'll make sure we have our own security, because you've lost my faith.
And I think that it was communicated that we were going to run the plan through the end of the year. So we were absolutely stunned when we heard that the school was taking over after school. We had no knowledge that you were planning to do that.
So I'm not speaking as a school board representative, because I don't have the rest of the board's able to speak as a school board
Right.
representative. I'm speaking as a parent and assistant. And my opinion of an after-school program is something that we can have security in, and then also have good participation in. That's what we desire as parents. The participation was lost because it was diluted by 3 different programs that we had. And having one program centralizes that, makes it consistent, makes it secure and good for the children. That's where I as a parent believe that we need to be. Going back and forth on all of this and seeing the dysfunction of our community not working together towards a common goal and solution, and not having great communication between our, the 3 of us that are here today that have children in the after school program, had children in the after school program for 5 years, is disheartening. It feels like we're not being listened to.
Can I just ask, what about yesterday gives you pause about the security of our recreation program?
So we had this front door locked to the gym where the children were. We had 2 supervisors in the gym,
Mhm.
and we had an individual enter in a side door and come in, and to the teachers that were there, they felt threatened. That threatening attitude has now put doubt into a new citizen in our community of whether or not she wants to be in this community any longer. She has already resigned from her positions at the school. She is now no longer going to be a substitute teacher for us, for as far as I know she's not doing the after-school program.
Okay.
So that's disheartening. She's a great person, great family.
Right.
It would be wonderful to keep that family in our community. And not to mention, there was another family that oversaw this that is also having second thoughts about being a part of this community now.
Okay, so, and how, I mean, I'm just trying to get my head around this security issue that you're raising, Tim.
Yep.
So does that now extend to all of our recreation programs? You
Sure.
won't participate in any of the recreation programs that we do?
Me and my family?
Yeah.
Oh, no, I don't know. We haven't talked that far. I haven't talked with Katie that far. I'm not sure what it means for us. But as far as the after-school program goes, the security issue is not our issue. We don't believe the security issue is our issue. I'm not concerned about that. I'm concerned about having trust that this program is going to continue to run.
Oh,
And that
okay.
I have that trust. to be
Okay,
able
because
to-
you were saying security. That's all I wanted to make sure. I understand the comments about whether or not the programs, but you do understand that we did make the commitment to run the program through the end of school year 1920.
Sure, I wasn't there, I wasn't part of that meeting, so I don't know
Okay.
what the commitment was, but I do know that from our point of view as parents, we found out in the beginning of August that there might not be a school program. Then all through the
Right,
beginning
no,
of
I
first semester, we
Mhm.
found out that it's up in question,
Mhm.
watch this meeting on
Yeah.
YouTube multiple times,
Mhm.
and lost faith.
Katie, I think you wanted to say
If-
something.
I hear that, I was in that meeting, I did not walk away, I walked away from that meeting feeling that the program was
Okay.
running through the first semester, and that you were gonna revisit pricing, you were gonna wait for the financial analysis, and we were gonna learn more on how to grow the program, to get more people, or learn if it was a financial thing, and that's what I walked away from.
Okay.
Repeatedly in the end of October, I was asking for the January pricing that was going to be released in November, and it was not released, which then also leads you to believe that there was no guarantee it was happening. So in September, those conversations started with the school board, and they talked about it at the school board meetings. So I presume that there's minutes taken. I'm not positive. I don't attend the school board meetings, but there was communication available, I'm sure, to
Well,
discuss
this
it.
goes to Tim's point that our communication has not been what it should be.
Correct. So back to the proposal that you're talking about of running it from 4 to 5, what will be the difference on the 2 main reasons that were the beginning issue? One, financial; second, low participation.
Mhm.
If that doesn't change, if you still only have 3 kids, is that still an issue, or is that issue not a matter anymore?
Well, I think it's an issue we have to, truthfully, we have to constantly look at. But if we make a commitment during the school year, we would continue on. I mean, I can't see pulling the rug out at that.
I don't think anybody wants to pull the rug out of this. Like, as you mentioned, Tim, I talk to a lot of people who want to move here, and I sell the strength of our school as part of our community. And it's a big part of our community. I don't think anyone wants to leave it. I think we just have to find a better mechanism that we can all get behind and commit to.
Well,
So,
So the better mechanism that the school board has come up with
I'm not sure if that's
is a
true. I'm
good
not-
mechanism. It's been working. We have 10 kids participating. We have increased participation. We've had multiple new activities that they've been introduced to. The enrichment is starting to take off. They have a good program. So the question that I have is seeing how the parents are now coming to you saying that they don't trust the program, that they don't trust that it's going to be there and serve our needs. And we can't trust in that for a long period of time, and we can't back that. If a family comes to me and asks me about the after school program, I'm going to say it's a mess. I'm going to say that I don't have security in it. If it doesn't go back to the school, I don't know how it's going to rebuild itself from this point. It needs a drastic change. The change and makeover is to put it under the school. As you said, it can be ran in multiple ways.
Mhm.
Either run by the school or it can be run by the rec.
Right?
So the security, as far as whether the program was going to continue or not, revolved around the enrollment issue with the after-school antics program that the rec was running, right? We couldn't guarantee that we were going to be able to find more people to be involved. As a representative of the PTA, I know we had discussed having a scholarship even to give 1 or 2 additional positions into the after-school antics program to give faith to the town, to give faith that we were invested into it, that we relied on it, that we needed it to be there. But the problem was that we continued to have the discussion as to, okay, we have it for another semester, we'll have it through the end of the school year, but we'll have to readdress it. The idea of having to readdress it continuously ad nauseum.
I understand.
That's what led to the discussion of
right.
alternatives. That's what
Right.
led to the
Mhm.
fanning the flames on,
Right.
let's come up with something different.
Right.
Through the school, like Tim mentioned, enrollment went to almost every student. I think there's just a select few that don't partake in the after-school program now that the school is running. So the enrichment does have significant value that we're adding, and nothing against the Rex program. What Sandra created when she took over this past year was phenomenal. My daughter was thoroughly enjoying her time there every day. However, we needed to know that it was going to be there. We can't afford our lives in the valley here if we can't work till 4:45, 4:30 in some places.
Can the school program go till that time? Is the question I had.
Goes till 5.
Then why are we doing the program from 4 to 5 to supplement?
No, it was more of going with everybody's strengths. And the idea of blending the program was to take those good things that Sandra did and have those between 4 and 5. And have the enrichment program, which obviously people want to do because
Which is
there
new.
are kids in it and it's needed, and that's where the strength of the school is. So why not have a cooperative program where we can take the best of both of those situations, and instead of one group having all 2.5 hours or however many hours it ended up being, have it broken down so that the school was doing the first part of it and the rec was doing the second part of it. We would commit to doing that, and that's what Rich talked to Gail about.
Right, about starting as soon as they,
Start as soon, just
As the
take them
school board,
over, and
wanted
it
to.
actually,
right, and a commitment for next year.
I thought, and we were gonna commit to doing that
Right.
in an ongoing
That's right.
process and include that in the recreational
So-
budget.
We
So,
saw
Mark-
the
And we
two
had,
issues.
just to be clear, the selectmen have not had a discussion about this.
Okay.
After we had our public meeting, Gail had offered that if we had any questions or that kind of thing. So rather than get the entire select board involved in that kind of thing, Rich said, as a public citizen or as a private citizen, I'm willing to go and talk to her because people were raising this issue of you guys aren't talking to one another. And so to keep it on a low-key basis initially, we didn't make it a big select board thing. But Rich wanted to take this on because he was interested in it. And Gail said she was going to take it to the school board for their consideration.
And that's why it's on the agenda for today,
There's-
to have that discussion.
I mean, there's obvious benefits to it. I can absolutely see that. We have some of the same hurdles that we had with the previous program, though, is who's going to pay for it. And if it's going to cost money from parents to have their kids go to the rec portion, you're going to have enrollment issues. We had those same problems in the past.
Yeah, but
There's a slew of issues. I mean, you're talking about supervision, you're talking about children's supervision and consistency of supervision. You're going to hand it off in the middle of the program of the day. Not to mention the fact that the number one reason that I don't want to do that is because I don't want to have this become an issue between two boards. I want it to be one board. And the after-school programming, all the other after-school programming is done through the school. And if we can keep it with the school, I think that's beneficial.
That's the school board's. if
Yeah,
that's
I mean, the school board has a
decision.
proposal for the voters to vote on.
Yep.
Like I said, I was trying to rationalize it, since we were thinking we were going to, as a town board, we would be responsible to do it again. I thought perhaps this was a solution, but I brought it to Gail to think about, because I figured she'd be the one who could best understand what would be best here. But certainly the school board, if they don't want to have a blended program and want simply to continue forward with the proposal on the budget, that's when we have no authority over that. That's certainly that's the school board's.
I thought they came up with a second plan because the school couldn't do after 3 or after a certain time. That's why they needed the extra hour.
No, it was more
Oh.
because we were getting the sense that perhaps there was going to be a proposal to take that out of the school budget. And that we felt there needed to be an after-school program of some
Right.
sort. And
Well, there is that
maybe we
sense
could
around
help.
town.
Maybe we could help by finding something to do together so that we weren't left with no program at all.
With nothing. That's the other part of it. I mean,
Yes.
success of the proposal that the school board is presenting. I'm sorry, Katie. you have-
So my other issue, it goes back to that communication on why is there that dissension in town, right? And that dissension comes when selectmen stand up at a meeting and make a statement about a program, right? And for 5 years, as a community member, I have done nothing but hear about the school and the programs and the negativity. And it's really hard to live in a town where you have to fight to live here day after day. And you have to go to a school board meeting, you have to come to a town meeting, and you get told about how the school should close, or this should close, or that should be down, and why should we do this? And last year at the meeting, at the town meeting, it was stated that we want the school to grow. But yet here we are again, talking about negative sides of programming and then scuttlebutt through the town. So as an initiative that I would like is, can we all just support programming, right? And as a town, we asked the school board to come up with ways to increase enrollment. One of these ways is having free after-school programming until 5 o'clock.
Mhm.
As a parent, going anywhere, wouldn't that entice you? Do we not want to grow our town? Do we not want to grow different demographics within our town? And if we don't, then just stop talking about it all and get rid of the after-school program and get rid of the school.
So we opened this meeting with a statement that said we're all in support of the school,
Yes.
right? And then I said, but your actions contradict that statement.
Are you talking about the board's actions, individuals' actions? See, let me just go back to something, Kate. I agree with you 100% on what you're saying. 100%. And as a previous parent of the school, I fought the same battles you did when there were 41 kids in the school. It made sense because we were spending too much money on the school and they wanted to close the school. The same battle has been going on for the 20 years I've been here. You know, to keep the school going and to keep the after-school program, what got us the tuition students, which built the school in the old days, we were the only ones that had full-day kindergarten. And that's why people tuitioned in from Thornton and Campton. You know, I'm with you on the after-school program. Let's get it done and get it done in a way that makes sense to people. Rich just met with Gail and he told us about it a little bit today. We're just getting the basics of this. You know, if the school wants to run the program, that's the best way to do it. Let's talk about it and present it to them.
Could I just make a couple quick points? Katie, for example, just take me as the example. When I stand up and talk at a school budget here, I'm just Joe Q citizen.
But
I'm
you're
not talking as a select board member.
I know that you're not, but
But
you're
that
in
shouldn't
a
muzzle
position
me.
where you
And I told Gail when I met with her, I'm here, I don't have my select board hat on, I'm here as a resident. Hi, Gail.
Hi.
And these are my views on both. I talked about the preschool and the after school with Gail. So, I mean, it is an issue, but I don't think there's any way around it. I think you can't, people can have to give, well, I mean, I don't want my voice taken away from me as
I don't want your
a
voice
resident
as a resident taken away either.
either. But I frankly, the 800-pound gorilla here is, and I know the school board's trying to get at it, and I, as someone who supports the school here, is the low number of students. We're down to 17.
Yep.
And we could be at an existential phase. I think we are. And I recognize that the school, and this gets to the point you make, talking about negativity, the school board is trying to come up with ways to do that. There's just disagreement within the town. I disagree on one issue, on how to do that. And there are perhaps other alternatives that maybe, in my view, as I've mentioned, the number of people, a consultant could help us come to a solution on the issue.
Then why didn't you come to a school board meeting and present that?
Mhm.
Right? I mean, that's, you want us to get involved here at the selectmen's meeting and talk to you guys in an area and a way to communicate what's going on with us. And that's all we're asking the same of the town. And if, you know, we go a year and our board of our school gets together and presents ideas,
Mhm.
and they just get ripped to shreds again without any positivity, why would any of those parents want to stay at that school?
So Mike, you asked me a minute ago if this was a board or a personal issue that I don't feel the support. I'm here talking to the board. If it was personal, I talk to you personally.
Yeah.
The reason I feel the board doesn't support this is because the board is not supportive of the school board. They're obviously working on ways to get this application. Wait.
Okay.
We're obviously looking for ways to counteract what the school board is proposing. We've assigned the school board representatives to come up with ways to help the school grow. They came up with these ways to help the school grow, and whether you support them or not as an individual, as a board, I believe you should come out and say that you support them as we have supported you.
All right, that's a fair question. But I think this is the first time since I've been here that there's been an issue really between the school board and the Board of Selectmen. You know, there's been a certain autonomy of each board. And
By statute.
but yeah, by statute. But this is the first time this has come up at all with these things. They run independently. And they
Not
always
really,
Well,
after school program.
well, this is what I'm talking about. This is
That's the
how
one.
this has come up.
That's
This is
why
the
we-
first time we've had any bearings on
Right.
what the school board does. And at all. And I think the issue that comes up is because we have to be involved with a board is because it affects our recreation department. And that's the only thing that we have to be involved with, is one of our departments. If it was like a public safety issue, or if it was something to do with a facility that we had to get involved with and things like that, then we'd have to as a board. But up until now, we pretty much haven't had to. Is that correct?
Yeah, I think we have requested joint meetings, and I think joint school board, Board of Selectmen meetings are great. This is a conversation that we should have been having in September. And the Board of Selectmen knew nothing about the school board's plans for the preschool program and the changes to the building. Those are key things we run one of our largest departments in that same building. Why didn't the school board say anything to the Board of Selectmen about that? I mean, we would be happy, I think the board would be happy to sit down. We should coordinate our capital program, because a $250,000 project is a big ticket item. Yet when I saw the warrant, that was the very first time that I had any inclination that preschool was going to happen. So in the planning process, I agree completely with you. It should be a joint process. And there should be 2 or 3 meetings a year minimum between the school board and the Board of Selectmen. Because all of these issues that you've brought up should be discussed in a workshop setting. And you guys, both boards should be talking about, hey, we want to go in this direction, we want to potentially do this, and then you go off and you do your planning, and then you come back together and you say, here's it should be a coordinated effort on all levels. I 100% agree with that. It just has historically never been, even when I was a school board member, it really wasn't. I mean, we went through the same thing before you got here with the building memorandum of understanding. We've had issues before, and it's always been difficult to have the school board and the Board of Selectmen sit down together in the same room and talk about these things and come to some kind of agreement between them, and then go off and let the staffs do what you guys decide to do, and make sure that the budgets are coordinated. It's a difficult thing to do. I've never seen it in any of the towns that I've been in 27 years.
Well, maybe it's something we need to do.
So we need to do it.
because we owe it to the people to
Absolutely.
do this.
I would be all for it, Tim.
Well, that's good. Now at this juncture, we have to make a decision. As a parent and as a citizen of this town, I'm urging the board to support the school board. Support the school board's programming, support what the school's trying to do, support the fact that this programming will help increase participation in after school, will help increase our numbers, will make the school a better school, will help our citizens, our children that are a part of this community. It will help them have something to do after school. The program that we've created has already in the couple of months that we've been operating it, it's even been a month, it's already proving that it's getting good participation. The children are using it.
So what are you asking?
I'm asking for your support as a parent.
In what regards are you asking for support? Do you want to vote on a motion? Do you want to propose something for us to endorse? Because we're more than willing to look at something and endorse it and have it on the public record if that's what you'd like. And if that's what we feel as 3 separate people here and as a board will do. Tim, we want this all to work. I think the idea that we got this on the table now about talking about this when we come time for budgets and capital plannings, is all of us were taken aback by the warrant. We people in the town don't understand that the Board of Selectmen has nothing to do with the school budget. And we're finding out about it through people that I knew, and they want questions and answers from us as to things that we know nothing about.
So, Mark, I hear you say that I knew nothing about the warrant. That's what I hear. But yet, in the school board meeting that I obviously was at, we had multiple citizens come in asking us about the preschool. The meeting before, we've had meetings with representatives of the town at the meeting where we talked about preschool and after school.
Yeah.
You mean the public session that
The
you
public
had?
sessions,
Yeah,
during
that's the
public
first,
sessions.
I heard about it when you posted.
When you
posted.
when we
That's
had
Jim was
when we
talking
had a
about
school
earlier.
board meeting,
Gail?
Yeah, at the school board meeting, Brooke and Mr. Dakota were there. There were at least 2 school board meetings that I know of for sure where we were talking about the budget. We were talking about the warrant article. We were talking about how we present it. And both of you were there, as well as many people from the community.
and that was what I was referring to when I saw that warrant, because the school board voted on the warrant at that meeting that I went to.
But I believe
Okay.
there have been other school board meetings where we've been talking about it, and the school board meetings are always posted, and I know for a fact Brooke has attended many of the school board meetings, and it's public, they're always posted. There's been no secret about this. This has been very out in the open for the last 2 or 3 years. No secret. It's not like we're trying to do anything.
It was asked explicitly of us at the town meeting last year to look into it,
To look into a preschool?
to look into a preschool.
I missed that.
So as far as my ask of the board today, I asked that the board consider supporting the school board. I asked that they support the efforts that the school board is taking to increase the population of our school. I asked that the board accept and support the after-school program that's been designed for the school.
Okay.
I also asked that we need to look at the security of the gym. It's my understanding we're not able to get a key to the door at the gym. Is that true?
No, you have it's a fob to get into the gym.
I've asked Brooke and she's asked you for a key for our after-school employee to have, and it's been pushed off. And so now we can't get into the rec
For which
door
door?
for after school for parents to pick up the kids. So now we're having to have the kids go down to the school side because the rec locks the door and we are not allowed to, there's no way for parents to get into the kids. And you will not let us have a key for the door. And so we have to take them down to the school side, which is no problem. It's secure, it works, we can do that. But I think it's like a building that belongs to all of us. Like if it's an employee who's gone through background checks and we're paying them and we're trusting them with our children, we should trust them with a key.
Well, actually, I haven't said that you can't have a key. There was direction from the board about an MOU between the school and the town, because we have 2 separate insurance companies now. And I think our agreement was that we would have the key available as soon as the MOU was done. And as soon as that is complete, I don't have a problem with you guys having a key. Everybody, anybody who is an employee of the town or the school should be able to have a key to that door. And, we'll do that. That's not a problem. But we need to have an agreement between the 2 entities because they are 2 separate legal entities. How is that going to happen? Who's responsible for cleaning up? Who's responsible for locking the door? And when? How does scheduling, all of the things that we've talked about. Has that been communicated to you, Gail?
Yep, and we've taken
Okay,
on
then how can you
cleaning,
say
we've
that I
taken on
wasn't going to give you a key? We'll give you a key.
Okay,
So,
All right, question, who's writing this memo of understanding? Is it the school, is it us, or is it dictated by the insurance companies? Is it your insurance company or is it our insurance company? Let's get it.
Who's you? Who are you talking about, you?
Meaning the school
School
insurance or the town insurance, there's 2 separate insurance
Is-
companies.
It sounds like the town is requiring the memorandum of whatever, so wouldn't it be
Well,
a
you're
town
asking
or
to
a
use the
town
town facility.
insurance?
I'm just trying to get it on a track so we can get it moving.
Whose
I
facility?
agree. I don't know who is asking for it.
Rich, whose facility?
I mean, the rec department,
There are 2 separate carriers
Whose
carrying the
facility,
separate
Mark?
space.
what do you mean?
Whose facility are we talking about?
We're talking
About the
about
rec department.
access to the recreation
The rec-
department.
the rec department.
Okay, so is that
And I
portion
know-
of the building separated from the school? Is that actually the recreation's property?
No, the entire property, is under the school district, and I understand that. However,
It just seems as though we don't.
well, yeah, we do. However, if you go back and you look at the town meeting minutes and you look at the way that the building has been used since it was built in the 1990s, there has been a clear delineation between responsibility for the operation of the building. Okay, so yes, the school district runs the entire building. Okay, I understand that. However, that is the recreation department's section of the building for responsibility,
Based on an
So-
MOU.
okay? Based on a
Based on
memorandum of understanding between the two entities.
Okay.
So we have certain
when my child
responsibilities.
is in after-school programming,
Mhm.
and they're in the gym, and we have a public meeting.
Yeah.
What's the security level that we're taking to secure my children in that gym?
What do you mean, the security level?
What security level are we
So
taking?
lock the door to the gym, and you already lock all of the doors to the hallway and the bathrooms. So
Except
it's
for
locked,
yesterday.
and you
Except for
have
yesterday.
staff. What do you mean?
Yesterday,
Yesterday, we had election going on, you knew that elections were
That's not what he's
going on.
talking about. No, what he's talking about, I was given I was let in a door for a father, for an employee. Which I asked
The
for.
door that is typically locked in the hallway to go to the bathroom is always locked, which creates total security to the gym, Tim. That was unlocked because the citizens were there voting all day and working, so that was left open so that they could access the bathrooms. That is what you guys are referring to right now.
Okay.
Okay, and in other schools, if there is a security concern like that, the school does not hold school on that day. Okay, if the voting happens there. If the school board now does not want voting to happen, you should send a letter to the Board of Selectmen
I'm
and
not here
inform
as,
them.
I'm not here as a school board member.
Well, I'm just
I'm
saying,
here as a concerned citizen.
okay, as a concerned citizen, go to the school board, tell them that you're concerned, and if the school board agrees with that, send a letter to the Board of Selectmen and tell the town that we no longer can hold elections in that facility during a school day. And,
We can
and
also
that
have
would be,
no school that day, because I know some
or
schools
that's what they do.
cancel school,
That's
so.
right. If
that's a
if that
valid
is a
point.
security issue for you, then that's a way to handle it.
That takes care of my
Thank you,
concerns.
thank you for coming in. Anyone else for privilege of the floor? Yes,
So I came late, I apologize, but I'm Gail Adams Davis, the principal at the school. I don't know what's been discussed already, but because of the behavior of one of your members towards one of our staff members, who has now resigned her position, is resigning in a lot of other forms because she was basically accosted and, spoke to in a very rude, disrespectful manner. And it is my feeling that something should be done to rectify that. And I feel very, very poorly about the situation because there were, two parents that observed this as well. And as a result, there's a very good chance that this family, her last words to me last night were, I do not feel safe here and I want to get away as far away from Waterville Valley as I possibly can. That's 3 children that we lose. The other parent that has 2 children, that's 5 children. It feels like you don't want the school. It feels to me like all the work and all the effort I do to build a loving, accepting, warm, flexible, caring environment is just destroyed because of one action and, or maybe several actions. And if you have a concern, I left the school yesterday at 4:45 so I could go vote. No, I wasn't there when you needed to speak to somebody. But you can make an appointment with me. Rich made an appointment with me. We sat down and we had a really very civil conversation. We disagreed, but we both came away with some really good ideas. I am 100% flexible. I want to work with the town. I want to work with the recreation department. And what happened to that parent and employee of our school is just, it's very disappointing and very sad. And I just have to talk on her behalf and say that I'm very disappointed.
okay, let's move on. We have no minutes to approve? No. All right, department heads? Chris? Well, I've been away, but nothing happened big while I was away for the first time in a long time. Gearing up for next week. Should be a good week. Lots of snow out there, good skiing conditions, good weather, so we're good to go. That's about it.
All right, Jim?
Nothing really to report. I've got, as you know, we've got another storm coming in early tomorrow morning, so. We're pretty much ready for that, and, I did, as far as the issue with the lights on the bridge, I do have the electrician who installed the lights. He's supposed to come up next week. He's gonna take, the problem is they're a ballasted fixture. You can't just swap out the bulbs or anything like that. You have to either change the heads or do something different with another different type of ballast, or, and he's also going to look into a way to kind of like nightshade them. We'll know better. I promised him it was off contract because he was the subcontractor for the dam project. So he has agreed to come. So that's the latest and greatest on that.
Okay. All right, Brooke?
Yep, we have, our plan for both vacation weeks happening. We have lots of extra programming. And then on the tail end of New Hampshire week, we have the Special Olympics coming in for their regular, welcome barbecue on Sunday and then the dance on Monday. So that'll be March 1st and 2nd. Right now, we're just getting ready for the 2 vacation weeks.
And you have enough staff?
Just barely.
All right, calendar review.
Planning board
All
tomorrow,
right,
Oh, joy.
and then the town meeting.
all right.
We're not gonna have another select board meeting prior to the,
No, the
Town
next,
meeting.
the
It's
next
the day
meeting
after.
would be the day of. Remember
Day.
you, that evening, because you have to appoint so that the
Right.
planning board members can meet that next day.
We also have the informational meeting tonight
And you have the informational meeting this evening at
at
6 o'clock
6.
right,
Is that over?
over at the,
Okay.
and that's been posted on Facebook and the town website.
Okay. Let's talk about the 79E tax incentive program.
Yeah, I provided you with all of the statutory information, just so you had it prior to town meeting, so when the warrant article comes up. This is basically, as the title of it says, Community Revitalization Tax Relief. This is a program under the state law that allows underutilized structures, whether they're historical or, what's the other term they use? Cultural, yeah, culturally important to the town. In other words, they're just a key part to the town center. It allows when an owner either refurbishes those buildings or tears them down and rebuilds them, that the town can, if they've adopted this statute, the Board of Selectmen can award tax incentives to them.
Do we have
with the
any buildings
forgiveness.
like that?
Well, it would be like Town Square because it's kind of the iconic picture. But if you're talking about the downtown area,
Well, does this
The-
extend outside this? Remember we
the
talked about?
sunny, well, you guys can basically say where that downtown is. So we could take either the C1 zone or you could take the village commercial zone. I mean, depending on how large you want the area to be. And you could call that. the
So this
center.
would actually work if we were to say, build a historical center off of the library or something like that?
Not new construction. It would have to be revitalization or tearing down and rebuilding on the.
Right, but say an annex to the library wouldn't count on this? Because
No, it would be outside of the town.
It's too far out there.
Yeah. And really, I mean, we could probably, in looking at the map, you could probably extend this as far out as Packard's Road. Snows Brook,
So we would,
with the entire loop, so that any commercial use, the conference center, lodges, we could make it so that the downtown area that's eligible for these could include all of the commercial properties in town. Okay, so if they basically revitalize to the tune of $75,000 or more in changed assessed value, right? Just like we did with the base lodge, right, under the other program. Then you can give them an incentive up to, what is it? $75,000, but there's a year, I believe it's 5 years.
Yeah, it says
Forgiveness of
five
the,
years, but you can extend it.
you can extend it another 4, I think, up to 4 years in an extension. So what we would do if the town adopts this, and I plan on having a slide that summarizes the key points, right? If town meeting asks before the vote, we'll be able to show them. And then if they adopt it, then you would have to review and adopt enabling regulations. And so that would be the plan. I'm not gonna put, unless you want me to, I wasn't gonna put a whole lot of effort into
no, we don't.
doing that
We
until
don't
we
have a lot
find
that
out.
qualifies.
Huh?
It's just very, very, there's a lot of reading in here.
There is, and a
This,
lot of it
this differs
focuses,
from our other tax incentive
Business.
program.
because
Correct.
that's any commercial
Any
property
commercial
in town.
property. Okay.
This is for, you've got to identify the downtown area, the center of town. And it would only apply to the businesses within that center. First of all, for historic buildings to revitalize them. And then secondly, for this other category of buildings that are important buildings to the look of town and to, and it was, I think it was more for like the mills in a mill town or something like that.
Right.
But Town Square being the picture that everybody takes and what we use would definitely, I think, in going through this,
Right.
qualify as a building that we could.
But would this qualify for the lodges? The Golden Eagle,
Well,
Blackberry Lodge?
I think you can make, that's your the Board of Selectmen's
Snowy Owl.
determination. The
Yeah.
Snowy Owl, the Black Bear, the Golden Eagle, I mean, all of them are iconic buildings to the valley. So, the conference center, it's all, any of those commercial entities, I think would qualify. So, I would,
And do we make the determination of
yes,
the area?
yes,
If this passes, we make the
Yes.
determination of the area.
yes. I mean, I think for town meeting, we should
Give an
We
idea
should
of what
give an idea of the area, which we can just do on
we would think.
It'd be interesting if we could get it out as far as the academy
I,
and help them out.
Those are really the historic,
yeah, the north end.
yeah, it's the historic end.
I wish there was more activity going on there now, because you can make an argument,
But here's the other side of it. If you make that argument, then you have all the old historic homes. And they
It
would
doesn't-
they would qualify too, because it talks about,
yeah, it
Just when I
does,
first looked
for
at
the
it,
historic,
it
yes,
says historic
yes.
renovations, so.
Yeah. But is there really anything wrong with that? Because, should we not
Because then we
have
get-
an eye towards maintaining those properties too?
But
I
then
mean,
we
this
get
is
into
not-
historic districts and all the other stuff, and if I said, oh, I wanna reside my house, and
Well,
someone else
but
goes, well, my house isn't as old as yours and it doesn't qualify.
Yeah,
How
but-
come he's getting it?
Well, because as far as the historic buildings, they are supposed to qualify for the historic register nationally or through the state.
Okay,
So So that, I think that's in the definition, so I think you just,
Right, I didn't see
I
that.
think you gotta be,
Okay. All right. Okay. Final warrant for signatures. You guys get a chance to read it? Anybody have a problem?
and if you approve it.
Margaret, your change was made.
Mhm.
Oh, the one word.
Yeah.
And the only other question I had, the Historical Society, we have them in our budget,
Yes,
Not as a separate
Not as a
warrant.
not as a separate
not as a
warrant.
separate warrant article. Was that intentional?
Yeah, I thought we talked
we
about
talked
that
about
and said.
doing that
leave
one
it
that
in the
way.
operating
They're
budget.
gonna do a presentation.
They're gonna do a presentation.
Okay, okay.
So, but yes, I think we decided to keep that as part of
The only one you asked me to separate out was the race.
reservation.
Right, and that was because the rec center was asking for.
We left
additional money.
we left the original amount, the amount we had in last year's budget, in the budget, and then we put the additional request as a separate warrant article.
Okay, do we need a motion on this?
Yes,
I
please.
will make a motion to approve the town warrant. Is there a second?
Second,
All in favor?
right.
Aye.
All right, dam project.
I did not get anything back from the attorney.
Okay. The engineering service RFQs?
Yeah, I just wanted to just verify that your schedules have not changed for the rest of this month. We had talked about starting to get them in either next week or the
Right.
week after, and I wanted to make sure that you were gonna be available for those 2 weeks.
Yep.
Is that
I'm
still?
going to be working at the mountain.
Yes,
So,
understood.
for 4 days at least.
Okay, so can you just, so it's just for those 4 days, not on an
Far as I
ongoing
know,
basis?
right.
Okay.
What, I'm sorry, what were the dates?
What
again?
days were those? that you wouldn't
It'd
be
be
here?
next Monday, the holiday.
It's vacation week, we're
Oh,
all gonna
vacation.
be busy, so let's not schedule anything for next week.
Next week, all right.
Okay,
I'm gonna be gone the following week. But
That's why I was having this conversation before I made too
you
many.
guys, I mean, I'll be happy to, I'll be happy
can you
to-
call in?
Probably, depends on the time, but probably not. I
Depends on
mean,
whether you're on a secure phone or not, right?
yeah. It may be difficult, but, as long as there are two of you, there are two of us there. I'm be happy to hear what you guys say. After that, I'm here all of March, pretty much.
Do you want me to do the first week of March before town meeting?
First week of March would be good for me. Second week is not.
I think I'm good first week in March.
First week.
I think so.
First week of March.
Okay, the North County Recycling Plan was very interesting, some of the things they came up with is zero sort recycling.
Yes, so that was a change, when we received this letter from the North Country Council, based on a telephone conversation
This was
or
based,
visit
this was based on a site visit
by North Country
by
Council.
North Country Club.
And then this letter was the first indication that we had that
Correct.
plan was again taking zero sort recycling. However, there were some caveats.
Right, and I am
Go
awaiting
ahead.
to, I put a call into North Country Environmental Services, which is the landfill, if you will, or
Yeah.
subsidiary of Casella. And I have a contact there, and I contacted her, and she is going to answer a lot of my questions about how we, what are, how do they have to receive it? Do they pick it up? What's it gonna cost? What's it per ton? What's a pull price? All these different types of things. Does it have to be covered? How much sorting needs to be done? So as soon as I know all of that information,
Contamination.
Well,
what the level of contamination is.
So Casella runs the operation down in Tilton as well,
Mhm.
right? So we're assuming that the contamination guidelines are gonna be pretty tight, like they are down in Tilton. So Jim and I are not anticipating that we're gonna be able to use our truck
Right.
to do this.
Correct.
So we're not gonna be able to go back to recycling
Right.
the way we were doing it. So what we might be able to do is to have a can here,
Mhm.
a big roll-on, roll-off 30-yard dumpster or whatever. However, if water is gonna count as contamination, then it's still gonna be very difficult
Can we
because,
take a section of, the shed and make it a tipping floor to some degree, whether it's not necessarily a tipping floor, but just have the roll-off covered?
No.
over here, no, because there's a concrete wall in there, so we can't do that. But we're gonna get the answers to all of these questions. We're just continuing to look at recycling and different ways that we might be able to do it. And I'm hopeful that we can get this information prior to town meeting, so if there were any additional costs or whatever, we could put it before the voters, through an amendment. But we, Tim, we heard loud and clear that people want to do recycling, and we know it's important to the community. So we're trying to make it work. My problem is they kind of scared Jim and I because there were fines, basically additional fees that if you sent contaminated material to them as recyclables, they charged you extra if they were contaminated. So we're having to, that's a big deal for us, is to find a way to do this without the contamination. And if we can do it zero sort so that it can all be put into one dumpster, we'll certainly
There's,
find a way to.
yeah, there's the contamination issue, there is there is the snow and ice issue.
Right.
And rain issue.
Yeah.
And then there is, also the 24/7 access
Right.
unsupervised
Right.
issue.
But the other thing is Casella didn't even respond to our RFP last time.
No.
And, so we're
Yeah.
trying to
Yeah.
work around that too.
Yeah.
So we'll just wanted to let you know that we are working on it, and if we can find a way to do it, we will.
All right. Any correspondence?
I do not have any at this point in time.
Okay, the abatement, how do you want to deal that in non-public?
Yes, we need
Okay,
to,
all
we
right.
got an abatement.
Privilege of floor number 2. Anything else? All right, board concerns or directives, anything?
What's the status of the signs? Are they there?
They're
yet?
up.
Oh, they're
They're
up.
up.
I missed them. I was
Yeah, they're
there today.
No. They're, the signs have been there for weeks. Come on.
No,
Weeks.
we're talking
No.
about the one that was gonna say this is for residents only
Yeah.
and their guests.
They-
Those are up.
What, no,
Oh, no.
not up yet.
Thank you.
Oh,
We didn't
oh,
get picked
Oh,
up.
sorry, those signs,
I'm
yeah,
thinking
and
of
the
a different set
warning,
of
yeah.
signs. Okay.
Smile, you're on camera.
Well, there is a cameras in use
Right.
sign up.
Okay,
Right.
did you see the
Okay,
suggestion there is
Two.
recycling people about additional signs?
Yeah, they even suggested a lighted sign.
Yeah.
Those who are not
Yeah.
residents, stay out. Yes.
Okay. So if nothing, then we'll thank everyone for coming and going to non-public.
And there are two non-public, there's an ongoing negotiation, and that they're gonna be talking about it as abatement.
Yes,